Welcome to Storyteller. Please like this video and subscribe to the Storyteller channel. We are truly grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where you're watching from around the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now let's get started. It wasn't the betrayal that shocked me the most. It was realizing how blind I had been to it for so long. Looking back, the signs had always been there, subtle at first, then glaringly obvious as if screaming in my face. But I ignored them, believing my wife and I were untouchable. For 6 years, I had built my world around her. My day began with her smile and ended with her voice. I thought we shared something sacred. That illusion shattered one night at a Halloween party. She had been talking about this party for weeks. It wasn't unusual for her to get excited about events, but this time felt different. When she stepped out of the bedroom that evening, I hardly recognized her. Her tight, bold, and provocative outfit drew every eye in the room the moment we walked in. At first, I dismissed my unease. She was having fun, laughing, and mingling with everyone. I told myself she was just being social. But the way her gaze lingered on certain people, how she leaned in too closely during conversations, it all felt wrong. Then there was Tyler, the so-called life of the party. From the moment she introduced me to him, I disliked him. He had an arrogance about him, as if he knew a secret I hadn't uncovered yet. When the game of truth or dare began, my gut screamed at me to leave. But she wanted to stay, and then she kissed him right there in front of everyone. It wasn't a playful, innocent kiss. It was deliberate, and it hurt. I should have walked away right then, but I stayed long enough to receive the call confirming my worst fear. She was upstairs with him. At that moment, something inside me broke. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was anger, betrayal, and an intense need to reclaim control. I walked out of the room where my wife and Tyler were tangled together without looking back. My heart ached, but I knew from that moment I was no longer the man I had been. The journey of revenge. When I got home, the silence in every corner of the house seemed to mock my foolishness. But I didn't let the pain consume me. Did she think she could walk away from my life without consequences? She was wrong. First, I froze our joint accounts, transferring all the money to my personal account. Next, I sent evidence of her infidelity to Tyler's company. Cryptic messages, photos, and dinner receipts, all anonymously delivered. As it turned out, Tyler had a family too. I tracked down his wife and sent her everything she needed to know. Imagining Tyler facing the collapse of both his career and family gave me a cold sense of satisfaction. The journey of healing. But revenge only brought fleeting relief. One evening, while sorting through the remnants of our broken marriage, I found our wedding photo. Instead of anger, I felt emptiness. That photo, along with the painful memories, went up in flames. I decided to start over. I began going to the gym, investing time in self-care, and regaining my lost confidence. I reconnected with old friends my wife had once pushed away. Bit by bit, I reclaimed myself, not as the man dependent on her love, but as someone whole on my own, finding happiness. A few months later, at a small gathering hosted by a close friend, I met Charlotte. She was radiant and genuine, so different from the facade I had known before. We talked, and our connection felt effortless and natural. Charlotte didn't try to heal me. She was just there, patient and warm. Over time, I realized the scars of my past no longer frightened me. She showed me that real love isn't about manipulation or control, but sincerity and trust. One day, while cleaning, I stumbled upon my old wedding ring, forgotten in a drawer. Looking at it, I smiled. It no longer caused me pain. I took it to a secondhand shop, leaving it as a relic of a past I had moved beyond. That evening, Charlotte and I sat on the porch, watching the sunset. She turned to me, her eyes glowing. "Do you still think about her?" "I do," I answered honestly, but not because I still love her. I think about what she taught me, about what I'll never tolerate again. Charlotte smiled, taking my hand. "That's the best way to move on, not by forgetting, but by learning to live better from the pain." And with that, my life entered a new chapter. No more shadows of betrayal, just lessons learned, growth achieved, and a genuine love that made me believe I deserved happiness. My life with Charlotte gradually became a symphony of peace and hope. We didn't rush anything, letting everything unfold naturally. The small moments, like making coffee together in the morning or sitting quietly side by side reading, helped me realize that happiness isn't in grand gestures but in simple, genuine things. One day, while we were strolling through an art exhibition, Charlotte stopped in front of a painting. It depicted a man standing in a vast field, looking up at a starry sky. "What do you think about this painting?" she asked, her eyes filled with thought. I studied it carefully and replied, "It feels like a journey of rediscovering oneself. Sometimes you think you're alone, but then the vast sky reminds you that you're part of something much greater." Charlotte smiled, her gaze tender. "That's why I like it. Sometimes we need to look at the sky to remind ourselves that there's still so much to live for and love." In that moment, I knew Charlotte was the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. An unexpected memory from the past. One late afternoon, as I was tidying up my office, I found an old envelope buried among some papers. It was a handwritten letter from my ex-wife, Elena, sent months ago but never read. I opened the letter, and her handwritten words came into view. "Dear, I don't expect your forgiveness. I just want you to know that I was wrong, and I'm trying to piece my life back together. Tyler is no longer in my life, and I've lost everything. But my greatest regret is hurting you, someone who loved me so deeply. Thank you for giving me the chance to learn from this pain. Elena." I set the letter down, not feeling anger or sadness. Instead, I felt a sense of relief. This wasn't the apology I needed. It was the affirmation that I had made the right decision.